Hello, good morning, and warm welcome to all of you. So, students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we are going to study a different topic. So, this video, this series, this topic is an extension of what we have studied in our previous class. So, if you're not sure whatever we have studied, I'll be giving the link of that previous video in the comment and chat box. You may also check that as well. Now, so today we are going to study something which is very different and unique, and I'm sure you must like this video because it is also having very activities. So come, let's study our today's topic. Now before we proceed further, here is one image which I have pasted on the slide. What can you think? Okay, this is earth and we can see water bodies, because this blue color which is there, it is denoting the water bodies. What else can we see? We can see some arrows. Yes, we can see some arrows which are coming downwards, okay, going towards the sides and moving in opposite directions. We can see so many arrows. So you must be wondering, teacher, if there is water on the earth surface, and earth is covered with 97 percentage of water, so what is the role of these arrows which we can see in this image, which are having different directions and positions? And then it's also written that warm and cold. So what does these warm arrows mean, and what do these cold arrows mean? So that's our topic for today's lecture, today's class. Come. So before we proceed further, I want to check all of yours understanding, because this video is an extension of the previous study, right? So we discussed water in the previous video. So can anybody tell me by writing in the chat box why water is important for us? Water is very essential for human beings on the earth in order to have a good life, right? Name different water bodies. We studied so many water bodies. For example, we can see rivers which are there in our villages, in our cities. We can see seas, we can say ponds, we can see lakes, we can say waterfall, right? Which of the water bodies have most amount of water? Ponds. Ponds have water bodies. They have most amount of water. Ponds are only this much in size. So no. The correct option will be oceans. Oceans are those water bodies which are having most amount of water. And what do you know about ocean? Yesterday we studied about what are the characteristics of ocean. The water is very salty, and as a result of its saline water, the water is saline, salinity is there in water. It is not good for human consumption. Human consumption is unable to use the ocean water. So these were the topics which we have discussed in our previous video, and this video is an extension of that video. Now today we are going to study something about circulation. Now circulation means going up, down, towards, backwards, downwards, frontwards, southwards, eastwards, in various directions. Now, what is ocean circulation? When we speak of ocean, we see that ocean is not still. It is always in movement. It is always moving. So, ocean circulation means the circulation that is taking place in the oceans. Now, unlike calm waters, ponds and lake have calm waters, because ponds are shorter in size. Lakes are also shorter in size. We can see that that lake in that particular area is having only this much area. No external water is being added. So it is calm and short in size. Okay. And but it is also not moving. There is no end to lake. Lake has a definite end. Ponds do have definite end. Okay, maybe they are stretching at 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, let's say 5 to 10 kilometers, but they do have definite end. But oceans, they don't have definite end. So oceans, because they don't have proper ending or proper starting, that is why they keep on moving continuously. Now, how does that circulation takes place in oceans? Now, suppose if this is ocean, how does that circulation takes place? Circulation takes place through three methods. There are three varieties through which it takes place. First is the wave, second is tide, and third are currents. Guess, not that electric current, the oceanic current which we are going to study about. So in total, in oceans, specifically in only in oceans, we have circulation, and there are three type of currents which are there due to which circulation takes place. Now, let's move forward and see how these currents, waves and tides take place in the oceans. Now, first we'll be studying about waves. Why are they important in ocean? How do they cause circulation? And what are the role of waves? So now you must have visited any sea beach, students. Okay. Now when visiting to that sea beach, you must have seen that water on the surface on the ocean rises and falls alternatively. That rise and fall of waves is known as circulation of waves. Fine. That rise and fall of water on the surface of the ocean is known as waves. We can see waves in this manner. Right. Now, during a storm, during a storm, when there is a huge storm, the winds blow at a very high speed. We all know whenever there is storm in our cities during rainy season, when the rainy season is about to approach and arrive. So winds that are blowing from a very high speed, they cause massive destruction. Apart from causing massive destruction, they also cause those waves on the water on the surface of the ocean. So due to this huge blow of winds during a storm, waves are forming in the sea, in the ocean. Now these may cause tremendous destruction. As we have also studied, tsunami are there. There are so many Titli, Udan, all these different types of tsunami and that storms, hurricanes which are coming every year in Odisha and many parts of Kerala, also in South India, that how these are causing destruction. Now an earthquake, a volcanic eruption and underwater landslides can shift large amounts of ocean water. Now we all know what is an earthquake. Okay, when the earth is having a rift and there is something called dividing the earth. Volcanic eruption, we have also known that how does volcanic eruption takes place and how massive the destruction it causes. But what about underwater landslides? Yes, students, we definitely have underwater landslides. That means beneath this water surface, there are tectonic plates, and when those tectonic plates collide or crash together each other, they can cause large shifts of ocean water. And because of that collision, a huge tidal wave is called tsunami that occurred back in 2004, and due to that waves are formed. So this was the first type of ocean circulation which we have studied. Now, have you ever been to the beach? You need to share your experience. Like you went to the beach and what did you saw? Right? Think for a few seconds and then you tell me. So tell me, what have you experienced? There are some times where we are not allowed to enter the beach, but then again there are times when the people who are staying near the beach, the security guards, the shore caretakers, they say, okay, you may go to the beach, you may have fun, you may take a bath, you may swim, but there's some timing. Don't come back on the surface before that timing. So have you often wondered why are they saying so? There must be some reason. You must have also observed that you cannot go to the beach 24 hours. There are some times when it is restricted to go. So it is because of those waves, these waves, or what? It is because of those waves, and those waves, when they are coming in a very large quantities in a very strong manner, they cause massive destruction, students. So now you need to tell me, think, ocean water keeps moving continuously because of snow, wind or temperature. How? Think that how will snow affect the ocean water? Can snow affect? What is the linkage between snow and ocean water? I don't think there's any linkage. Now, wind, yes, we definitely observe that large winds cause the oceans to come and turn into surface waves, and wind is the correct answer. But what about temperature? Rainy season, summer season, and winter season, spring season, monsoon season, will it cause ocean water to keep on continuously moving? No. What is the role of temperature? So the correct answer is only wind, because they allow large waves to take form, and that causes massive destruction, and that is also result of circulation. Fine, I write over here, it's circulation. You may also write these on your notebooks if you want to, these points that may help you in your exams. Okay, now let's study about tides. What are tides? We have completed waves. Now let's come to other type of second part of ocean circulation, that are tides. Now tides are rhythm in nature. They are rhythm in nature. For example, they are following a proper pattern. Yes, up and down. See how they are going up, they are coming down. See again how they are going up and they are coming down. So these are patterns in which tides take place. So they are happening in rhythm. The rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day is known as tide. So when we need to keep in mind, these happen twice a day, right? Now, tides are twice a day. Waves can be n number times of in a day if there is long and strong wind. So we need to keep this comparison in mind. Now tides are of two types. Twice a day, okay, two times a day, and then again we can see high tide and low tide. Let's study and discuss what is high tide and low tide. But what are tides? It is a rhythmic rise and fall. Okay, fine. But how are they formed? Tides कैसे आते? Waves are caused because there is strong wind that is moving and causing the surface of the water on the earth to have form waves. But tides कहाँ से आते? Do they caused by winds? So now tides are formed because of strong gravitational pull. You are pulling something, and which is done by exerted by the sun and the moon on the earth's surface are causing tides. Now this has got two important roles. First is sun, the role of sun, and the second is the role of moon. Now sun and moon are pulling earth's surface towards themselves, and that is known as strong gravitational pull, and these are causing tides. So students, always remember that whenever we are talking about tides, there is no role and no interference of winds in it. Wind का इसमें कोई भी रोल हमें नहीं दिखता है, क्योंकि इसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ रोल आपका gravitational pull का आता है, that is done by sun and moon. I hope the concept is clear to all of you up until here. We'll also study about the third type of force, that is known as oceanic circulation, caused by currents. What are currents? But now types of tides, high tide and low tide. So we can see that we know high tide, and we also know we are knowing low tide. But what do we know more about tide? During the full moon and new moon days. Now it is talking about full moon and new moon days. The sun and the moon. The sun and the moon and the earth are in same line. Full moon means पूर्णिमा, न्यू मून्स मीन्स नया जब चंद्रमा निकलता है. सो सन, मून and earth, these are in same line. These are in same line, and because they are in same line, they cause a greater gravitational pull. Now whenever they are causing a greater gravitational pull, high tides are caused, and these tides are also caused spring tides. Fine. Let's see and understand with the help of this picture. sun is there. Okay, this line is same, then we can see new moon is there, then again line is same, and see we can see earth is there. And because of this, the gravitational pull is at its peak, highest, strongest, greatest, and the high tides are caused in the oceans, and these are known as spring tides. Spring tides caused by high tides when three are there in the same line. Now, sun, ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि sun पहले आ जाए, earth पहले आ जाए, moon पहले आ जाए. This place can differ. There is no thing कि sun ही पहला आना चाहिए, moon ही पहला आना चाहिए. No, they can interchange their places, but what the matter of concern is, they all need to be in the same line to cause that high tide and spring tide. Fine. Low tide. Now low tide is known as neap tide. Spring tide is known as high tide and low tide is known as neap tide. Now let's see ये कैसे होता है. When moon is in its first quarter and last quarter. Now quarter means 1/4 is known as quarter. The ocean waters get drawn in diagonally opposite direction by the gravitational pull of sun and moon, resulting in low tides. Now, let's understand this with the help of an example. Now, moon is in its, या तो ये first quarter में होगा या तो ये last quarter में होगा. So what will happen? Water gets drawn in diagonally opposite direction. Now suppose this is water and this is oceans. ठीक है? One thing will go this side, other will go this side. One thing will go this side, other will go this side. One will go this side and other will go this side. ये diagonal भी हो रहा है and it is also in opposite directions. By the gravitational pull of sun and moon, there is no role of earth. Only because of the role of sun and moon, the low tides occur. These tides are also called neap tides. I hope up until here things are clear to you students. So yes, we have studied about spring tides or high tides, low tides or neap tides. Now let's move forward. Tides तो चलो हमने पढ़ लिया, but उसका फायदा क्या है? What are the advantages of tides? High tides help in fishing. When there are high tides, it helps the farmers and the fishermen to fish, catch fishes. Tides are also help in electricity, generate electricity, and this is the role of tidal energy. We also know, we have also studied about tidal energy, that how tides and water currents are required for producing electricity. Yes, so tides also help in tidal energy and electricity both. So these are the advantages of high tides, or let's say normal tides that take place. Now, before we proceed further, now see, earth has got no role. Now if sun is here, moon is here and earth is here, they are forming a straight line. So straight line किस में होता है? Spring tide में. And spring tide is also known as neap tide, high tide or low tide. Comment in the chat box. Spring are high tides. Neap tide is also known as when there is no interference of earth. Earth का कोई role ही नहीं होता है. We have only strong pull of sun and moon, and that too in opposite diagnostic direction. So this is known as low tide. So students, I hope up until here the concept of tides, waves, high tide, low tide, neap tide is clear to all of you. So we'll move forward. Now think and share. Think and tell me, why is it so that many more fish, they come closer to the shore during the high tide? जब high tide होती है, when there is a spring tide, why is it often that we see that fishes are coming closer towards the shore? नदी के किनारे ज़्यादा आती हैं. Have you ever thought If you have thought and observed, give me reasons why. Okay? Like, this is the seashore. We can see fishermen are standing over here. Now, why during the high tide fishes come over here? Why? There must be some reason. What happens during high tide? Low tide में तो नहीं आते हैं. They're coming towards the shore, right? Now, think and then you need to keep this answer in mind. Now, during the full moon and new moon, which tide do we get to see? Full moon and new moon में we studied about spring tide. Yes, spring tide, and spring tide is the actual name of high tide. So high tide is the correct answer because only during full moon and new moon, पूर्णिमा and अमावस्या में हमें देखने को मिलता है. ठीक है? Now think. But I've pasted 3 different images on the screen. What can you interpret from these images, students? You need to tell me. Okay, I can see people are having river rafting over here. You know, river rafting. What about the other 2 things? What is causing there? I can also see that we can see that huge waves are taking place. See how huge they are. Yes. And we can also see current is passing. ये क्या electricity pass हो रही है? Yes, students, tell me, think. Okay. Now my question is, how this is related to this? अगर there is current, electric current or shock which is passing over there, तो उसका river rafting से क्या काम? And if it is passing, actually we can see what is the role of this tide. How these 3 images are interlinked. Let's see. The third type of circulation in the oceans are ocean current. Now ocean current are made up of horizontal. Now horizontal can be this and vertical components. This of the circulation system of ocean waters that is produced by gravity, wind, friction and water density variation in different parts of the ocean. So ocean current किससे बनता है? First of all, it is made up of horizontal and vertical 2 components आ गए of the circulation system. ये तो हमें पता ही है. Like, and how it is produced? Water is produced by gravitational pull of force, that is also known as gravity, and wind friction when 2 winds are having colliding against each other, and the density of water in different parts of the ocean. कहाँ water ज़्यादा गहरा है, deep है, कहाँ ऊपर है. So this is known as the density of water. Now ocean currents are similar to winds in the atmosphere. Now ocean currents जो है, they are similar to winds. Now like how winds are there in atmosphere, similarly there are ocean currents that they transfer huge amount of heat from Earth's equatorial areas to the poles. Heat कहाँ से जा रहा है? From equatorial areas to the poles, the South Pole, North Pole and the South Pole, and thus play an important role in determining the climates of coastal regions. Now, whenever we see and talk about coastal regions, students, what are coastal regions according to you? Is Madhya Pradesh a coastal region? Is Bangalore a coastal region? And what? Think and then tell me. Yes. Now, coastal regions are those regions where we can see ports, lakes, ponds, seas, where import and export are taking place. For example, we have shipping dockyards such as we can say Kolkata, right? Vishakhapatnam is a coastal area, and then we can say Bhubaneswar is there, you know, Bombay is there, coastal areas, fine. So these are coastal areas. So these ocean currents are also determining the climates of coastal regions. कैसा होगा? So whenever you have visited, if you have visited or whenever you will visit any coastal area, Ask your parents that what type of weather do we have. Do we have very cold weather? Is it humid? Is it humidity is there? Is it very hot and summery? Think, and then your parents will be telling you the right answer, that ocean currents are the one that are determining the coastal regions atmosphere. Apart from this, ocean currents and atmospheric circulation influence one another. So whatever is happening in the ocean currents, they are taking place, but they are also having linkage with atmospheric circulation. जो atmosphere पे हो रहा है, winds and all, they are also part of this oceanic currents. So this is the third type of movements that are there in oceans, known as oceanic currents. So today we have discussed about waves, tides and oceanic currents. Let's see what else do we know. Okay, I have prepared this chart for you. Now this image shows us the proper oceanic currents that takes place. Now oceanic currents are of two types: warm, cold. This key is denoting us the warm and cold oceanic current. Now warm is denoted by red in color. See, warm is coming from this side, then it is having this and this side, okay, and then it is going from this side coming to this side. That shows it doesn't have any proper direction. It can flow in any direction whichever it wants. Now in this area, not equatorial area, it is going towards this side, whereas let me take another color. Okay, whereas we can see cold oceanic currents that are taking place like this and coming this way, then taking wind drift, again it is going this way and this way. See, are they following any proper pattern? No. See, so observe, students, observe carefully that how there are taking place in this. Yes. So streams of water. Now streams of water flowing constantly on the ocean surface in definite directions are divided into two types: warm ocean current and cold ocean current. Fine. Now warm ocean currents originate near the equator and move towards the poles. Now where is equator? Okay, I can see equator over here. Yes, and over here. So they are always originating towards the equator and go towards the pole. Now always keep in mind, students, we have almost studied that whatever cities and whatever countries, Asia or suppose any other continent which is near the equator, is always hotter, and the more we go farther from the equator, the atmosphere gets cold. So always keep in mind that warm ocean currents are warm in nature because they are originating near the equator and slowly they are moving towards the poles. Now cold ocean currents carry water from polar or higher latitudes to tropical or lower latitudes, because the poles, they are coming from this side. No, let me change the color of my marker. Okay, now what about these areas? We can see white. Why are they denoted with white? Because they are snow capped polar areas. So whenever winds originate, the currents originate from that areas, they are coming from higher latitudes towards this portion. So because they carrying cold currents, so they are known as cold ocean currents. So this is the point of distinction. So we should keep in mind that whenever they speak of warm ocean current, immediately we should think that it is there from the equator, and when cold ocean current is being talking about polar or high altitudes. Okay, fine. I hope this much is clear to all of you till now. Let's move forward and see. Okay, so now students, I have pasted one map of world oceanic currents, and now you need to tell me which is the warm, which is the cold, and why they are there. Why we can see warm only in the middle portion and cold winter currents only in southern part. Somewhere few are there in northern part also. Why? I need you to answer. Okay. Think for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5. Take 5 seconds and then tell me. So, first of all, how I taught you, how should we determine the type of cold winds and warm winds? First of all, we will find where is our equator. This is our equator. Now, equator के पास क्या क्या है? These things are near the equator. These are there and these are there. See, north equatorial, south equatorial is there. So, they are following this pattern. So, they are originating from the equator. So, they are warm ocean currents. What about cold ocean currents? Now, we will see these places such as South Pole is always snow covered, or maybe let's say polar regions are there. Fine. So whatever ocean current is originating from these areas will always have cold ocean currents. See, wind west drift is there, this portion. Now they are flowing to this portion, Peru area, and to South Atlantic gyre. Now let's see towards the North Pole. Greenland is there. Now we all know Greenland is in the polar region and Labrador is there. So they are coming to this portion and yahan se they are following this. So this is the point of difference between warm, cold. Warm is always associated with the equator and cold is also associated with the polar range. This point is clear to all of you. Now, evaluation time. Let me check your concept and level of understanding. Now, according to you, warm ocean currents we just discussed, divide the earth into two halves. They originate over here. So the correct answer is equator, because equator is very warm. So warm ocean currents are originating from that place. So students, in today's topic we have learned about so many different things. So we never knew that water is important, but water is having such deep characteristics and features that will blow our mind. So yesterday we studied about water, why it is essential, types of water bodies, and today we have studied more deeper about ocean circulation, that are waves, tides and ocean currents. Now students, what do you mean by ocean circulation? The ups and downs of waves, tides and currents that are taking place in oceans are known as ocean circulation. Simple. Now what do you understand by waves? Waves are because of, we studied now, waves originate because of strong winds that are taking place. Okay. What do you understand by ocean currents? Now, ocean currents are taking place into two types, the warm and the cold one. Now, currents determine the region of those coastal areas. Fine students. So, I hope this much is clear to all of you. Now, let's move towards the homework part. Now this homework is specifically made for all of you. We just studied how tides and waves played a very important role when tsunami hit our earth, specifically India, China and Japan and all those places. Indonesia was also affected. So find out how tsunami took place, how much destruction had it caused, and write it down in a very short form along with labeling images that should, validate whatever you are writing. Secondly, ocean water is salty. Why is it salty? If it is salty, that means human cannot drink it, eat it, consume it. So you need to give reasons for the same. So good. So students, this brings us to the end of this topic. Everything about ocean currents, tides, waves and etc. So yes, so if you have any questions, any doubt, kindly feel free to comment in the chat box and I'll get back to you shortly. Till then, keep learning, keep studying, complete the homework given by me, keep recapitulating things so that you don't forget. Take care. Goodbye. See you in my next videos. Thank you, students.